Welcome everyone to our weekly home-based business class. And we just love this class because there are a lot of people that are Googling, there are a lot of people are curious. And so what we cover in this class is why now is probably the best time to start a home-based business, why health and wellness, and why Young Living is the best when it comes to health and wellness. But before we do that, we always want to share with you stories because that is what really moves people. So we're going to listen to Dana first, and she's going to share with us how she rolled into this company and then to the business side and the benefits it has had in her life.
Absolutely. Welcome, everybody. So first and foremost, thank you for being here. Thank you for taking your time with us. We're honored that you're here. We hope and pray what we deliver to you guys really helps, inspires you, encourages you. So for me, it's interesting because my journey with Young Living really started I would even say it within my childhood, because for me, I was always a sickly child. And fortunately, I had the experience of natural things as well as traditional things. And so for me, I kind of naturally gravitated to more natural things. But because I did my own research and I thought I knew something, right? I was using oils, right? I was using natural remedies and things like that. But what really opened my eyes is when I had my son. With my son, I was on bed rest with him for 5 months. That was a really, really rough time. I was looking for healing for him. There was a lot of health challenges that he was dealing with. He's asthmatic, his eczema, a lot of things going on. And so I immediately started doing research. Because the doctor just essentially was telling me, like, that's just the way he is. It's genetics. Put some hydrocortisone on it. Here's this prescription. Give him breathing treatments. That's what his life's going to look like. And I'm like, no, I'm not okay with that, right? And so some of the first things I did was I started, because at the time I was nursing him, so I changed my diet. I started changing our environment and cleaning with vinegar and all of the things to take all the toxins and things away. And then around that time, my son was not sleeping through the night. I remember Tashina inviting me to a class. I went reluctantly. And I actually remember that day because I had got off a shift. I was finally back into the spa working as an esthetician. And I came late. So the whole class was over. They were done with the presentation, education, and all of that. But because I'm a researcher, I grabbed all the little pamphlets, all the little information things that I could, so that I could research and look it up. Because I honestly kind of thought she was a little cuckoo, because I'm like, oil should not be this expensive. I don't know what type of cult you're in. These people are crazy, right? But she gave me a sample of Peace and Calming. And so I used that Peace and Calming in my son's bathwater, and his frantic splashes went down to nothing. And I turn around thinking, oh my goodness, my child, I think he drowned. What happened, right? And his little head was nodding. And that was the first night that he slept through the entire night. And for me, that was the first night that I found a little flicker of hope, because I was doing all of these things, but I still wasn't getting to the root cause of what was going on with him. And so I started slowly incorporating the oils and really seeing dramatic changes. And I always say that Tashina tricked me into doing the business. So she appealed to the things that she knew was like close to my heart. As an esthetician, right? I love doing facials. I love touching people. So I remember my first party, it was like, hey, rent your clubhouse and invite your friends, and some of the family, and you can do facials in the basement. And of course, she provided me with all the Young Living products, right? To do the facials on everybody. So I'm doing all these facials, doing all these things or whatnot. And then I remember coming up, because I'm done with my facials. I'm like, so we're done with the party, right? And she's like, so Dana, tell us what oils you like. And I'm like, what? Like, what is happening? And so we end up passing around oils, and we end up talking about oils. And I say that to say that for me in the beginning, I knew that I needed health and wellness for my son, but we were not in a good financial place. And so even though I didn't realize I needed that piece, because my sister was so lovingly presenting it to me in a way that I could swallow it, I was open. And so after being able to see that, hey, I can get my orders paid for, and then moving up to the point of, hey, I can get my orders paid for, and we can set a little bit of that aside to go towards getting down some of our debt, and we can put towards, so that kind of really opened my eyes. And I would say for me, there's so much power in having multiple streams of income. I think especially with everything that's going on, more and more people are seeing the power of that. And so I hope that inspires other people too, to really take a look at it, and understand that everybody's at different places in their journey, right? Whether it's just to get stuff covered, or whether it's you want to completely change your career, Young Living can be an excellent addition to what you're doing.
All right, Dana, thank you so much for sharing. With that, we're going to move over to Sheila. She is a platinum, very, very close to diamond, and she's going to share her story with us.
No idea. The two of you are sisters? Like, I had no idea. I didn't even know that you were on the same team.
Oh, that's so funny.
I know. I'm like, seriously? Well, that is awesome. And you know what? That is one of the wonderful things about doing a business like this. You get to go in business with your family and share in the wonderful things, share in the health, and grow closer. I bet you two have grown closer since you started doing this together. That just makes me want to cry, and like, I'm not lying. That is so beautiful. I have a sister who is in my downline. I have a couple of sisters. They're further away from me, so we don't work together, but I have a sister who's not in the business yet, and she makes quite a bit of money in real estate. And I was thinking about her today, and I said, you know what? It's awesome that she makes her money, and she's making this money, and it's awesome that she is a generous person, because she is, and she likes to give and all that. But one thing that's missing from that picture is she's not able to give an opportunity, if that makes sense. She's not able to give to her family, even though she gives tremendously. So I'm not knocking that, but she's not able to give something like the two of you could say, hey, you know, join me in this and let's rise up together. And you're making your own money and just uplifting each other. So I just wanted to mention that since I found out you're sisters. I'm Sheila. I am in Calgary, Alberta. I am from Detroit, Michigan. I've been in Canada for the last 20 years, and it'll be 20 years in August, actually. And I've been doing the business for 12 years. I'm a mom of 6 and also a homeschooling mom. I've been homeschooling from the beginning. My kids are grown now. I've been homeschooling for 25 years. And I've decided to do Young Living or do the business or create. For me, it wasn't another stream of income. It was for our family, but I was a stay-at-home mom. So it was, for me, my stream of income. I mean, of course, my husband and I, we share. I shouldn't say of course, because everybody's different. But he was the breadwinner, and I was the stay-at-home mom. And then when I found the oils, it's actually my sister in Texas who introduced me to the oils. And at first, like many people, I was reluctant. Think about 12 years ago, you didn't see aromatherapy all over the place. You didn't see essential oils all over the place like you do now. So I'd heard of it, but I didn't really know. But I wanted to support my sister. She got involved. She was introduced to it, and it was the first thing that helped her daughter who had chronic fatigue. So it helped her daughter with some of those things, those symptoms and different things to ease up. So she called me excited about it, and I decided to join. That was 12 years ago. I had wonderful results with my kids. By that point, I had had kid number 6, and I really wasn't that crazy about being a stay-at-home mom at that point. I had kids everywhere from from a newborn to going into high school. And it was a lot for me. And I see Carol shaking her head. She's like, oh, no, 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 no. But it was a lot for me. And I just didn't feel very happy anymore and was wondering, why do I have all these kids? And then enter in the essential oils. And within just a couple of weeks, I went from really feeling very depressed about my situation. I love my kids. I loved being at home. I loved homeschooling, but I just didn't love it at that moment of time for about 2 years, and had been searching for something to help bring me up. And the oils did that. And once that happened, I was like, I have to find out more about these oils. But it still took me a couple of years to decide to work it as a business, which was just okay. I just ordered every month, and everybody that had a symptom of anything, I introduced them to oils. And it was very, very exciting to see people's health change. And I started to build a business without really trying to build a business. I was just sharing the oils with people. And then after a couple of years of that, I decided, yes, I'm doing this part-time. So for me, I still had young kids at home, and I wanted to do it part-time. I was having excellent results in my family with all of my kids, and up-leveling their health, up-leveling mine, up-leveling my husband's. And I decided, yes, this is for me. But I was still homeschooling, so it was part-time. So that's the beauty of this. Do something part-time. And then something happened a few years later. My husband, who was the main breadwinner, he had to close his business down. But guess what? I had already begun creating that second stream of income, so that when he closed his business down, we had income coming in. And so how many people know that, especially right now, it is so important to give yourself a little padding and give yourself a little extra security no matter what you're doing. And so us having that income coming in actually helped save us during a time that he had to close his business down and figure out what else he was going to do from there. He's an entrepreneur. He basically doesn't go get jobs, so he had to figure something out, being a consultant and that type of thing. But it gave reassurance, and it gave us peace. We didn't panic, and I didn't have to go out and get a job. I could continue to be home with my kids. So after that, I just continued building to where I'm at now. I'm enjoying a team of ladies that I'm helping to get to the point where I am and beyond. And just, it's been that long, and I still love this business. I still love this company, and I still love these oils. So once you fall in love with these oils, you'll never go back. And you can't fall in love with them unless you use them. I always tell people they don't work unless you use them. So we make sure that we're using them daily. It becomes a lifestyle that you will never want to give up. You'll never need to. That's my story, and I'm sticking to it.
Alrighty, thank you so much, Sheila, for sharing with us. So I promise you guys we're really close to getting to the data for people that need data. But before that, for those that don't know me, there are some people on the call that don't know me. I am Tashina Gonzalez. And so if you paint the picture of your average young living person, I'm probably the furthest thing that you can be from the average young living person. I have more in common with the average husband of a young living person. I am not happily married. I'm divorced. I don't have 2.5 kids. I don't homeschool. I have 0 kids. And I'm in the corporate world. And I'm always been in the corporate world. So when I first got out of college, what I want to do is help people. I love helping people, but just hearing what people did and what people made, like I sat for a really long time trying to decide education, business. And then I went ahead and went with business because that was going to make me more money, and try to find something that could help people. And I ended up getting a degree in marketing. And my dream job was to be a new product marketing manager. And so to find some new thing that was going to bless people and introduce it into different markets. I knew someone that had that job and traveled, and I loved traveling as well. So that's the job that I wanted to have. But I came out of college in 2002. Economy was great. Everybody wanted 10 years of experience for any marketing degree, and I couldn't break into the industry. So I did a couple years in real estate, and then I went into the most typical career of any Michigander, which is the automotive industry. So I'm like a corporate middle manager level. I make 6 figures, 8%. On the surface, it looks like I have the American dream, but anybody in the corporate world knows that a lot of that comes with a lot of added stress. And once you get over your 30s, that also comes with the health illnesses that go with a lot of that stress. And so in 2012, for a period of time, every 6 months I had a new illness. And so it started with gut issues because I was not eating the way that I needed to be when you work 60 to 80 hours. And I was bedridden for 3 months with that. And then 6 months later, I had high blood pressure. And almost everyone in my group had high blood pressure. And then 6 months after that, I started developing hormone issues. So I had excessive bleeding for a year and a half. And then a little bit after that, I was in 2 accidents in a period of 6 months. Both was rear-ended, needed physical therapy for that. And then obviously, at the end of that, mid-2014, I had mood issues because that was just a lot to handle. And so I talked to everyone that I knew. It seemed like everyone in their 30s felt miserable. And I'm like, this is not normal. There has to be another way. So I started with the basic stuff, right? I started with my eating because I wasn't eating right. I went to a boot camp. At the time, I was clinically obese at like 190 pounds. I lost 20 pounds in the 6 weeks I was there. I learned how to eat better from that boot camp. And then I tried to Google my way to good health. I just tried to look for women's vitamins. And I was spending $200 on Amazon or Vitamin World or Vitamin Shop, like every single month, just trying to find solutions to Google my way to good health. And at the time, a couple of my friends were on social media stating lavender is amazing and blah, 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 blah. And I bought a couple of those essential oils from Amazon and they didn't work. So I thought essential oils didn't work. And I went to a home party because one of the things that I wanted to work on was socializing. I'm an extreme extrovert, if anybody knows me. But because of all of my illness, I had became very withdrawn and I was not associating with people. And so I went to my first home party with the intention of not buying oils because oils didn't work, but to just support my friend. Hanaway was placed on my body for some tension that I had at the time. And I was like, these are different and the world needs to know. And I booked my home party before I even could buy my kit. I didn't have $200 sitting in the bank at the time to get my kit. And so I, in my journey, had been in network marketing things before, and I loved a lot of the education system that it had given me. But for whatever reason, the ones I was in, like I never had the emotional connection. Their style didn't work for me. Like the hotel rooms trying to bring people didn't work for me. And so I, in my brain, had written off network marketing. I thoroughly believed in Robert Kiyosaki and the cash flow quadrant and multiple streams of income. And I thought that one day I was going to, do real estate, and one day never came. And then Young Living fell into my lap. And again, it changed my life so much that I knew that I had to share it with other people for it to be able to change their lives. So if you are in a place where you're looking for an additional stream of income, again, this class is for you. And so with that, I'm going to share the actual presentation that we have with some information and data, again, about why now is the best time to start a business, period, and why a home-based business might be a great place for you to start. So we already shared my story. Now this slide here, I just love it when I researched it. These are companies that were created between 2008 and 2010. So how many of these companies do you use? You probably know all of these companies. WhatsApp. I have lots of international teams. I'm bilingual in Spanish, and so I only communicate with my international people via WhatsApp. Instagram. We promote all of our stuff on Instagram. Venmo, Square, Groupon, Pinterest, and Uber. Some of these companies literally changed industries, and they were created in a great recession. So that's why we know this time for us is a great time to start a business, because if you feel a need, then you can have a great business. But why network marketing? Again, we understand completely that is a dirty word to most people. And most people, I mean, we have people that get on Facebook and they say, what is your favorite deodorant? And they say, no network marketing, please, in parentheses. We understand that. But there are some benefits. People have promoted it in the past in a negative light. But when you really look at what some of the analysts have said, there are some benefits to network marketing. So what is one of the benefits? You can build it part-time anytime. That was mentioned. I have a full-time job. I work 35 to 45 hours a week in the automotive industry. I worked in the automotive industry today from my home. And then I shut off my computer at 3:30 and I started preparing for this class. I also do volunteer Bible preaching. So with the time I have left is what I'd use for Young Living. You can build it from anywhere. So again, I mentioned I am an extreme extrovert. I like my in-person classes, but I've been doing Zoom classes once a month for my international teams and for getting people together that can't come in person. And when we got into the state that we are in now in March, I was able to pivot my entire business online within 3 weeks. I was able to take my in-person perfume party and my spa party and just formulate it so that we can make it virtual. So really, you are able to do this anywhere. In general, a normal network marketing business, you can launch it for as little as $500 to $1,000. But we know that our startup, usually with Young Living, is a lot less than that. You're in business for yourself, but not by yourself. Your business partners have an invested interest in you. So the way that I succeed, the way that Sheila succeeds, the way that Dana succeeds is by helping other people succeed. I get weekly coaching through our corporate team, and I literally get on the phone with them and I say, here are the 10 people that I have to help rank up. That's how we measure my success, is that I'm helping other people reach their goals. Literally, those are the goals that I discuss with them. You can create enough tax deductions alone to make it worthwhile. Oh, and so I went through a period. I went through the 2008 period, and I almost lost my job and I was at a lower income. And that 2008 period propelled me to be a six-figure earner. Now I can tell you, if I didn't have a business, when I went over the 80,000 mark, I would not have seen most of that increase. But the fact that I have a home-based business and I have tax deductions makes it phenomenal. I love that benefit. You can learn while you earn it. You can earn an extra 500, 1,000, 5,000 or more a month. And we have all of those ranges on this call today. With time and success, your income will be produced by hundreds, perhaps thousands of people. So here's some network marketing myths, and here's where some of the negativity comes from that people are not clear on. So myth number one is getting in on the ground floor is the best path to success in a network marketing company. So this is simply not true. For those that are already part of the Young Living family, they know that we've been around for 26 years, and we have had some of our best years in the past 4 years. This is probably going to be our best year ever. Like Sheila mentioned, 12 years ago, alternative medicine was not that known. It was not a thing, but like everyone now at least knows or jokes about lavender oil, right? Like, doesn't matter, man, woman, who we know it, right? So this is actually a very good time. And our expansion and the things that this company has been able to do because of its longevity, like getting into so many other product lines, it's still okay to get in. You don't have to get in on the ground floor. Network marketing is the opportunity for someone who is not doing well financially to make a lot of money. That is true, but it's not the only people that it's good for, right? So there are people who had zero income, stay-at-home moms that were able to create an income. There are people that are middle class that are able to create an income. And there are people like me who are in the 8% of income earners for their area, but wants time freedom and wants their health back and doesn't want to have to work 60 hours to get that income. So for whomever is interested in more time freedom, that's who this opportunity is for. Network marketers succeed by being in the right place at the right time. That is simply not true. Again, if you learn the system and you do the work, that is how you are successful. You can, and then the last one, the big guys make all their money off the little guy. This is such a hard concept for people to get. It's so hard. But I can tell you that it's not true. I have sat down with someone who has not put in a lot of work. And yes, they have someone underneath them that is of a higher rank, and they get like 1% off of that person. But the person underneath them gets a much, much higher check. I've seen this, literally looked at their virtual office, literally looked at what they were. So there's no worries about this. You get paid based on what your work is. You get a referral fee. That is true from the people that you introduce to this. But that does not mean that those people, you're making money off of those people. And you put in a lot of work. You put in a lot of training for them in order to make them successful. Now, why health and wellness? So the global wellness market reached approximately 4.75 trillion last year. And it is growing at a rate of 6.4%. And it is so broad. Categories include complementary medicine, preventive medicine, healthy eating, nutrition, weight loss, spa, economy, physical activity, personal care, beauty, anti-aging, and more. And with our amazing company of Young Living, we have pretty much all of that. Even one of the things I didn't mention that's in the chart right there, wellness tourism. You can actually go visit our farms. I've done that. I've went on vacation and gone to Croatia, tax deductible, in order to visit one of our farms. We have all of it that we can tap into. Now, why Young Living? There is no company that compares to the standards of Young Living. If you're watching this replay for the first time and you're not aware, Young Living is the only health and wellness company that owns their own farms or partners with a farm that has their same better than organic standards. They're the industry leader in research and testing when it comes to these essential oils and oil-infused products. Their seed to seal promise is unmatched in the industry. If you haven't investigated seedtoseal.com, make sure you do that. They have 25 plus years in the actual industry, plus an additional 10 years of research before the company was even started. Again, low startup costs, one of the lowest in the industry, and the largest selection of essential oils, oil-infused products, and toxic-free lifestyle brands. The end of the month, I have at least 5 people in my inbox, usually, asking me to buy something from them because they're trying to meet a goal. And half the time, I'm like, I have that. Like, why are you asking me to buy makeup from you? I got makeup. I got the best makeup in the world. Like, why are you trying to push a shake on me? I got shakes. Like, we got everything. I love it. So that's the data that we want to share with you guys today of, again, why now is the best time to start a home-based business, why health and wellness, and why Young Living. But before we close out, I did want to just have you guys focus and visualize and think about that first slide, right? We talked about 2008. And there are a lot of people that lost in that 2008, 2010. I was in the bucket with those people. I, at the time, was married. Both me and my then husband were in the automotive industry. And we almost lost our house. And the reason we didn't is because I made a decision. I said, you go diversify. He went into the health and wellness industry. And I said, I'm going to get a better job. I had to go to the government and beg the government for a grant to not lose my house. And I'm like, this will never happen again. And that propelled me to be a 6-figure income. That propelled me to go from $40,000 a year to a 6-figure earner because I made a decision. And we're at that point right now. Some people won big. They created billion-dollar companies in 2008, but a lot of people lost. And we're at that point right now. So make a decision. If you happen to watch this for the first time and you haven't joined the Young Living family, your goal is to join the Young Living family. Ask the person that invited you, now, how do I do this business thing? Where do I get information on that? If you've just been hanging around for a while, now's the time for you to dig in the education of how to be successful in business, because there are different skills. Yes, it's easy for us to share, but if we really want to take advantage of the curve right now, you want to go ahead and get those skills. So I encourage you guys to make the decision. So that's what we want to share. We do have a little bit of time. So Dana, are you still available? Or did she hop off? Sheila, can you just share just a little bit like how your lifestyle has changed when it comes to the financial aspect of Young Living?
You asked me that because I was just going to unmute myself and just basically say how it carries over into every area of life. And so one of the main things that what the oils helped me to do was basically get my mind right? So I was at a point where I was feeling stressed, et cetera, et cetera. And not only did it help me physically, it helped me emotionally. So for those of you who don't know, there is a whole emotional release thing that we can do with the oils. And I went through those things and had just release negative emotions, release negative thinking, and release negative self-talk, just all those things. And because of that, it led me to feel like, yeah, I could do this business, but not just do this business, but excel in this business. So I set my goals high. It enabled me to set my goals high. And so by setting my goals high, it then opened me up to all the different possibilities that are available with Young Living. One of the things that I love to do is to go for some of our incentive contests. So we usually have an incentive contest every year, and it includes a trip. It includes an all expense paid trip, depending on if you win. And I always set my sights on winning. And so since then, I have won over the years. I've won several cruises. I've won the Mediterranean cruise. I've won I want to say Bahama cruise, but that's not what they call them. They call them Caribbean. That's the word that wouldn't come out. Caribbean cruise. I won Hawaii, a trip to Hawaii. I won an Alaskan cruise. And I think there's one more in there that I won. May have just been those three. It's been a few years. So, and we have a new one coming up. That excites me. And that one is Bora Bora, or there's also a second place prize for another travel trip. So this has become my lifestyle to share, not only just to win these things, but I know that when I do that, I am helping to change people's lives, because you don't win them by just, sitting around looking cute. You win them by actually introducing people to Young Living and actually helping those people to be successful. And so it's a win-win. So that has become a big part of my life. But I'll also tell you that there is something that I didn't expect. One of the things that I didn't expect was to basically fall in love with my husband all over again. And I know that sounds like really, but it wasn't that I wasn't in love with him, but it was just that when I opened myself up to all the possibilities of having the dream life that I am choosing for myself and for my family, it actually allowed me not to look at his faults, because we all have them. I didn't think I had any. I thought it was all him, but it was partially, it's both of us, right? But not focus on that and move on to where the good things about him. And that trickled over into other people. So I can honestly say that it's helped me create this love for everybody, love for people, this passion for people. It developed that in me by developing my business. I could go on and on and on about this because this is a part that I'm really passionate about, is the changes that happen in us, not just physically, but in our relationships, in our finances, in our time freedom, in our other possibilities, such as us opening up this horse facility, which we never even ever, that was like dumped into our laps. And I know it's indirectly because of all the changes that happened in us as a family for having these oils and having this company in our lives. So I just can't even speak highly enough of the life that we start to live as a result of just oils. And there is a reason for that. We won't go into that this time, but it's not hocus pocus, it's not weird. It is literally the frequency of the oils that help raise our frequency and actually help change our mindsets, and actually then things start changing for us. So like I said, I could go on and on, but it's a beautiful life, and I have like 0 complaints. I don't even vent. I still have 6 kids, but there is no venting. I never vent. Can you imagine?
Thank you so much for sharing that. I just think from, again, we're talking about business, even though it's not always the fun thing to talk about, but even in my team, seeing people that have been able to pay for their car notes. At the level at the second level of the company, my sister being able to be debt-free. At the third level of the company, but having been working it and in it for 5 years, and me being able to travel all over the world. And even that, part of that was emotional for me, because again, I was not planning on traveling all over the world by myself. I didn't even go to networking events by myself when I started this business. But just knowing that I had to do certain things for my team, if I don't go to Mexico and get the information, I won't be able to help my Spanish-speaking team grow. If I don't go see what's going on in Europe and really get an understanding of the business, I won't ever be able to grow my business internationally. And so each time that I have done that, I had the privilege of speaking to the YO Africa team. I'm like, I did a lot of stuff scared. I paid to go on the Alaskan cruise because I wanted to be around winners, and I did it scared. Like I would just book it, and then I would freak out and be like, I don't know how I'm going to make it. I don't know how I'm going to do it, but I just would do it. And I remember I put it on my Facebook page, and it was a memory. And I learned 2 things that, I was on a bus and I was talking to somebody, I was bonding with them from a completely different country. It was a gold from Hong Kong. And I realized 2 things. Number 1, when you're doing it for the right reasons and you go with a good attitude and you're smiling, you're never alone. Like, there's never been a time, even when I was in Croatia, like I'd see another couple and the guy's like, oh my God, you're so brave. And then I was part of their crew. Like they would want to take care of me as soon as they saw I was alone. So you're never really alone. And eventually, if you just keep doing it scared, one day you're going to look up 4 years later. I don't know how long it's going to talk and be like, wait, I'm not scared. Like, I'm on a bus in Skagway, Alaska with a bunch of people that I don't know, and I don't feel scared for the first time. So again, that decision, make the decision, do the work, learn the skills, and do it scared.
That's awesome, Tashina. Do it scared.
Any questions, guys?
And don't be scared to ask. Do it scared.
I have a question. I know Young Living is wonderful and it's an amazing business, but I have a hard time, I don't know, just getting the word out and actually, I share, but it seems like, I don't know, is there anything, the unstuck part of it, or what's your number 1 tip, I guess, you have for us?
Okay.
How are you currently sharing?
I was just going to say the same thing. How are you sharing?
Well, in person, and then right now I'm just building relationships online. I've joined some groups, and I've got some amazing friends that I've met online. I just hate jumping right into the business. Or if I find a need, I address it, and then they're like, oh, okay. I'm like, well, I'll send you some samples, because I feel like you can't really experience something until you've actually had it in your hand. You know what I mean? So I've sent the samples, and I'm following up, and now it's just kind of like, now where do I go with that? What do I do next?
Have you did you go through the Boost training at all with Young Living?
I can't remember. I've been through so many.
Okay.
I went through Propel, and I'm not sure if I went through Boost or not.
Okay. And have you read Eric Worre's GoPro?
Yes.
Okay. So the first thing, like it's really hard for us to understand and accept is that people need 7 to 12 exposures. So it may not be you. I have signed up a Lyft driver in 15 minutes at convention, but I wasn't his first exposure. He knew Young Living. I was his 12th exposure. So when you see people signing up 10 people online, that means that they've been sharing for a really long time, and that those exposures were 10, 11, and 12. So I know for me, sharing online, which this is different for me too, I am an in-person person. I want to be in person, and I can close very well in person. Just keep that in the back of your head that it takes 7 to 12 exposures. So if you've gotten in the groups and you've shared with people, it's really true. It takes 7 to 12 exposures. And what you're doing as far as building the relationships is probably super good. Keep finding those needs, keep just being regular. I would just make sure I have a system like of tracking and knowing how much I'm sharing with those people, and continue to ask additional questions. Like even over the past couple of years, one of the things that I've been trying to do more and more is ask questions. What's the best way for them to get something? What's the best way for them to learn? Because maybe the people that you sent samples, they need a YouTube video. Maybe they want to come to a Zoom class and they need lots of information. They need a 30-minute class where you're giving them just stats. So ask them continuously in the process, what do you think about this? What other information do you need? Keep asking questions to try to get to where they are, because yes, we have the tool and we know how good the oils are. We know if you hit it with this, it's going to fix it, but they don't. So we have to keep asking them questions so that they get to the same understanding that they have no clue how good it is. So it's our job. If they knew how good it was, they would get it right away, but they don't. I watched my friends for 6 months talk about the oils. I marked interested for 6 months about the oils. And then I went to a class thinking I would not buy the oils. So that's just the process that we have to accept. And if we feel like it's not happening fast enough, maybe we need more people in the funnel. Maybe we need more people in the pipeline.
Right. I love that. And I love the idea that you said about sending other things besides just talking to them. Maybe they do need a video. Maybe they need something else. I love that. Thank you so much.
Sheila, you want to add anything else on?
I do want to add to that. One of the things, now you said you follow up with them after the samples. And so one of the things that I like to do is kind of prepare people for my follow-up. So if I'm going to send samples, I'm going to say, hey, and I'm going to call you in a couple of days or text you or whatever in a couple of days to check on you. Would that be okay? And that phrase, would that be okay, is like the magic phrase. Use it on your children, use it on your husband, use it on people, because they will always say yes. And I use it all the time. Would that be okay? Yeah, that'd be fine. So now you don't feel kind of like, am I bugging them? And they don't feel like, oh, she's calling me now about it, because they've already given you permission to follow up. So use that. And then when you follow up, then the next thing is, so I'd love to invite you to whatever that may be. Is there a class coming up? Is there wellness Wednesdays coming up? Is there something that will help them learn a little bit more about the oils? Is there a Facebook group that has Young Living oils? I like, essential oils in the human body. Is there something that you can like say, I'm going to add you to this? Is your team Facebook product group something that can give them that next exposure? It could be seed to seal. It could be something Young Living's putting out. And then just always say, would it be okay if I send you something so you could learn a little bit more about the oils, right? And then, yep, it'd be okay. And then when you send it, just say, I'll call you, I'll text you, I'll whatever. I'll check with you in a couple of days or tomorrow or whatever. Eric Worre has a process where he says, say, when are you going to watch this? Are you going to, okay, then I'll contact you after that. And you kind of direct them as when to watch it. But just do that. Would it be okay? But then after that, here's something I learned from, Big Al. Big Al says, just say, what would you like to do next? What would you like to do next? Right? And let them help lead that process, but you are asking those questions. That was great. You watched this, you tried the samples. What would you like to do next? And let them tell you, well, I'm still not so sure about it. Okay, what is it that, and then you can start that conversation. What else do you need to know? Right? If they don't say, if they're like, well, I'd like to get some oils. What do you recommend? Then you go in that direction. But if you put them in the driver's seat, they never feel like you are pressuring them to get oils. As much as we love them and we know it will help them, and like I literally used to go up to people and be like, you got to get some oils. Right? It was like, oh, you're sniffing? All right, there's an oil for that, and you need to get them. Once upon a time that worked. But I was sincere. It had nothing to do with what I wanted to build a business. I wanted to help people. So if you stay in that place of, I want to help you, they will feel that even through Zoom, even through the airwaves or whatever it is they will feel that, and it will come across genuine. And it's okay if they say, well, I don't know, these oils aren't for me. That's okay. I just take it as they're not for you yet. Not yet. Then there goes those several more exposures that will come up after that. Right? So just stay in a place of love. Don't go into discouragement. I have people years after planting some seeds will come to me and say, tell me more about those oils. Years later. So just keep planting the seeds, keep operating out of a place of love and gratitude, and just love on people, and it all fall in place.
Thank you so much. I feel like, and I hate to take up like the whole session. It's all about me.
That's
right?
fine.
Thank you. You guys are wonderful. I feel like at the beginning, like with my warm market, that's how I was. I was like, you're smelling, you need these oils. You have to have these oils. And I got people, and then your warm market wears out, but I need to keep that enthusiasm going. It's just, I think that's a huge part of it. Huge. So thank you so much.
No problem. Glenda, you had a question?
No, I just wanted to share. Scared, like Sheila said, but there's a friend that I've had for over 10 years, and you remember, Tishina, when I first came to the Young Living event that I was invited to. I knew I was signing up, and that was it, because of course I had been exposed many years before to these oils. So in my excitement and in my knowing that this is it, I was telling everyone. Some listened, some didn't. But fast forward, Young Living just came out with the super vitamin D. I got my order. The stuff is amazing, I gotta say. I just found out you should take the vitamin D and then, I guess combine it with the Ninja Red, and it makes you feel amazing. So that was the key for this friend that I've had for all these years, because she's always been deficient. So she said something to me on my Facebook post, and I was like, okay, I got her attention now. And naturally, I took some over to her house and followed up with her. She said they seem like they're okay, but when I get my order for my Ninja Red, I'm going to give her some of that and ask her to combine the two so that she can get even more of the benefit. So, and you guys saying it takes however many exposures and it takes time. I know that personally because I'm a very slow business builder. I really am the type of person, I want you to get it here, have it. But I'm glad now at this point that this friend over all these years, she's finally jumping on the Young Living board. So I just wanted to share that.
Awesome. That's awesome. That's
Okay.
a great story.
Stacy put a question in the comments. Stacy, can you so her question is, where do you get most of your signups? And you said, I know that Sarah Harnish says to talk to anyone versus everyone. Can you just expound on that statement for me just a little bit so that I can have clarity on that
Sure,
part of the
absolutely.
statement?
I'm listening to, I love Audible books because I'm a teacher. I'm a public school teacher. And I know it sounds really weird that I commute, but we still had to go make packets for our kids. We weren't just distance learning. So I'd be in the classroom making a packet, blah, 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 listening to everything because, kids weren't showing up on Zoom either. Yeah, anyway, I want out of teaching so bad. It's not funny. But anyway, so I was listening to Sarah Harnish, and she was saying when the people talk to everybody, you sound like the crazy oil lady.
Yeah.
You're like, oh, you need oils for this. Oh my, and you're excited and your passion is coming out, and that's great, but you become diarrhea of the mouth. But when you become willing to talk to anybody, like the guy who's standing next to you at the grocery store, hey, I see you like that. I see you like football. You like the Cowboys. I'm sorry. You're trying to build a relationship even though you're right there and you're willing to talk to anybody about anything because you're trying to build a relationship, and then it might go oily. Oh gosh, you got a really nasty cough there. I've got these great Thieves cough lozenges. Do you want that? But I know she talks about getting your contact information. And usually when I'm standing there online, I don't know about, we live in small town. There's not enough time to actually make a real conversation to actually get contact information, so on and so forth. I know everybody's going to social media. I myself battle with 7 autoimmune diagnoses. So I'm kind of plugged into here, there, and everywhere. But again, people want to start talking and then they're moving on to the next best thing or the person who, whatever. So I'm having a hard time establishing relationships as well. And everybody's getting all these sign-ons on, social media because that's where we're all sitting at right now. I just don't know how people are doing it really. Cause yeah, it does take time to build relationships, but I think I'm doing it right, but
yes. So with social media, it does take a long time. I mean, you definitely have to have a strategy of interaction. So you can feel free to, follow my Facebook page and my Instagram page. I put out curiosity statements and questions every single morning to get people on my page and to get interaction on my page. And at this point in time, I actually get like probably 5 friend requests on Facebook every day, and I get 2 on Instagram every day because I'm
kind of like that more on Facebook versus Instagram.
So I get more by Dana, by Lydia. So I get more on Facebook, but and I do have a regular schedule of sharing what I do, right? So I do a Feel Good Friday. So people know that I am a wellness person. So I have a regular schedule of what I do. And then I share my life. When you see the pictures or the Instagram, I share my selfie after worship service. I have my nieces. I share all that stuff. And I think one of the things that when you said that be willing to talk to anyone versus everyone, I think the difference is you're talking to anyone to build the relationship. And something that I had heard from one of Alana Bookhout's trainings, a little like quick thing that she talked about early on in the business, was just being ready when someone opens the door for you. That's the difference in being the person that's vomiting on everyone, is that you wait for the door to be open. So you're in a natural hair group and somebody asks a question and you answer that question stating, oh, I love my non-toxic stuff. That's how you answer the question. You don't answer the question with, Young Living has the best blah, 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 blah in the world. And then when two people underneath say, what non-toxic stuff do you, they just open the door for you. They just asked you. Then you go to their DMs. That's how you talk to anyone versus everyone. When you throw your link in the group, then you look like you're selling something and you're trying to get everyone. You don't want everyone. You want the two people that want the non-toxic. And the same thing, even on other people's social media stuff. I can't get my kids to go to sleep. Well, I get my nieces and nephews to go to sleep with some natural remedies. Possibly 0 people will say something. It's not an opportunity for me to share. If 3 people comment underneath and say, hey, what natural remedies do you use? They open the door for me. And now I can go to their DMs and I can go talk to them. So social media takes time. Like I'm an extreme extrovert. I like my in-person classes. I like I want to see your body language. I want you to see my body language. I have a strong personality. I need to understand that I'm making you uncomfortable so that I can pull back. Like I need it all. Zoom is not.
Maybe a little red, maybe just a little red.
About 50%.
Right. Here you, sister.
So it was, but I'm learning to like transfer that online. So I used to go to networking groups and then I would have lunch with people. Now I go to online networking groups and I have one-on-ones with people via Zoom, right? And I just try to find those common interests and try to offer my services. Like I'm doing a lot of joint classes with other people that have expertise, like psychologists and chiropractors. And then say, hey, well, I just want to let you know what I do and here's some samples. Can I mail you some samples? And they always say yes. So.
Have you ever partnered up with any like health coaches? And I know that word is used a lot, especially by another oil company that, and I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about people who are like, even say Beachbody, you know, where they're into health coaching. I know they have their own line, which kind of
my sister has, she's done a couple with health coaches. And to me, that is one of my main strategies, honestly, right now, because why not? Right? Like, why not expose my 5,000 Facebook followers and 3,000 Instagram followers to your community that doesn't know the oils can be used for emotions and all the other good stuff. And you tell me your psychologist techniques, or you tell me the home chiropractor techniques that I can do to get rid of tension because maybe I'm scared to go to the chiropractor right now. And I expose your market and you expose my market. So that's one of my main strategies right now.
And I can see that really easily when you don't have competing markets. Like before COVID, I did a Pampered Chef party with Vitality oils. It was a perfect marriage. Really kind of hard to do that with, say, like my friend who is in my downline, but her jam is Plexus.
Right.
And I'm trying to put Plexus down, but she's never going to tell them about our probiotic when she's trying to sell her product. So I was just kind of wondering if anybody had ever done anything like that and tried to be successful. And I want success for her. I mean, she very much loves our oils, but she's honestly not going to tell anybody. In fact, she's even said, oh, Plexus said we can't talk about other MLMs. Okay, but she loves oils. So.
Right. Yeah, I mean, through your networking and through the groups, if you can find any additional people, and if there are some health coaches, official health coaches, like I recently got a holistic wellness certification that are in Young Living that will be willing to collaborate. And there's some that's not. And now that's a prospect, right? You're willing to do a class with me, you know, so at least let me send you some samples and get you in my funnel. And then maybe 12 exposures from now, you'll be on my team.
Right. Okay. Thank you so much.
All right, we are over time, guys. So I appreciate everyone. I do want to respect everyone's time. We did start at 5:05, so we're a couple minutes over. Again, the replay will be available and for sharing in the group as well on my YouTube channel. And I hope to see you guys again. Have a good evening. Thank you, everybody. Goodbye.
Everybody.